Hey guys, are you looking for a workout to strengthen your glutes and your core? This is a special routine from my #1 program in my members area. This workout focuses on your glute strength, your core strength, and then putting that together into full body exercises. So we're gonna start off with activating your glutes, with turning on all of the muscles of your hips and your core, and then move into some full body movements and yoga postures to help you build strength, specifically in your glutes, but also in your core. Be sure to let me know what you think of this workout. Leave a comment for me in the comments section below. If you like any of this workout, be sure to hit the like button and be sure to subscribe and get notifications. Hit the bell button so you know when any new videos are released. Enjoy the workout. I'll see you on the other side. Let's get started. Today, all you're gonna need is a block. So one block, that's it. We're gonna start off on your back with an exercise that you're already familiar with if you've done the last 2 workouts. If not, it's very easy to jump in. You're just gonna bring your knees in toward your shoulders. You're gonna lie on your back, grab the tops of your knees and just pull them in toward your shoulders. Keep your back flat on the ground and you're just gonna breathe here. So as you inhale, expanding your belly, lifting your stomach. And as you exhale, squeezing your belly button toward your lower back. Inhale to fill up. Exhale, squeeze out all the air. So as you're doing this, your abs are going to feel tight. You might feel some stretching through your lower back, some release through the lower back, and you might also feel some tightness through the fronts of your hips or your hip flexors. Try to keep your neck relaxed on the ground, your chin kind of tucked and relaxed toward the throat. So you shouldn't have any discomfort in your neck and your shoulders as you're doing this. And again, your goal is just to breathe nice and consistently. Expanding to inhale. And squeezing out all the air as you exhale. One more breath. All right. And then into bridge. So I'm going to have you plant your feet about 1 fist apart or about 4 to 6 inches. Make sure that you can kind of touch your heels with your hands. Press down through the big toes, through your little toes, and through your heels. Tighten your abs like you're doing a plank, and then press to lift your hips off the ground. Squeeze your hips toward one another. Pretend like you're pinching a penny between your butt cheeks. Tighten the abs. Draw the ribs in. So instead of splaying open the chest and getting a big arch through your upper back, try to keep the ribs drawn in and keep your upper back neutral. Your lower back is going to arch, and you're going to feel that through those muscles on either side of your spine, your erector spinae. You're also going to feel your thighs, your hips, your glutes engage, and abs are active as well, just like you would feel them during a plank. Keep pushing down through your feet. Keep pushing down through your heels. Our focus here is on the backs of your thighs, again, the fronts of your thighs, your hips, and your abs. So it's pretty full body. We're doing a lot here. Make sure that your knees aren't splaying open. So if you feel like your knees are starting to come away from one another, squeeze the legs toward one another. You could also pretend like you're holding a block between your thighs. 2 more breaths here. This is one of the exercises, one of the few exercises we're doing today to warm up your thighs. This is also a great pose to counter a seated position. 1 more breath. And then slowly release down. All right, from here we're going to move to a supine bicycle exercise. This is for your core. You're going to bring your right leg straight out, point the toes, bring your left leg in. You can reach the toes back. Bring your hands just above your neck to the back of your head and lift your shoulders off the ground. Now you're going to keep pointing your toes here with your right foot and keep reaching the toes back with your left foot. So as the knee comes in, the toes reach back toward you. As the leg goes away from you and straightens, the toes point. You're also going to add a twist in here. So with your shoulders off the ground, bring your right elbow toward, just toward, you don't need to touch it, but toward the left knee and look over toward the left. So you're twisting your torso to face over toward the left. keeping the toes pointed, keeping your chest upright. As you inhale, you're going to pull it back toward the middle and bring your right leg back in. So back to neutral. So inhale. So my knees are over my hips now. Keep breathing. And my shoulders are back to neutral. And as you exhale, now we're going to point the left toes and twist toward the right. Exhale. Left toes point, right toes reach back. Shoulders are still lifted, and now I'm facing over toward the right. This is Supine Bicycle. It's an excellent exercise to warm up your abs. Really good to start off any yoga workout or any workout in general with. All right, inhale back to the middle, and then going to the left again. Exhale, point the toes, twist toward the left. Keep breathing. Inhale to the middle, legs neutral. Exhale, twist toward the right. Left elbow comes toward the right knee. You don't need to worry about touching the elbow to the knee because you're probably just going to strain your neck when you do that. So bring the elbow toward the knee, lift your shoulders, look over toward the right. To make this more challenging, your shoulders are going to come higher off the ground, but make sure you're not just craning your neck, right? You're not just curling your neck in. Bring it back to the middle, inhale. Exhale toward the left, point your toes, look over toward the left. And the last time, bring it back to the middle, inhale. Exhale, twist toward the right, point your left toes. Keep the shoulders up, in particular the right shoulder to challenge yourself. And then bring it back to the middle, inhale, and relax. Nice. All right, so abs should feel pretty worked after that. It is a warm-up, but it's also challenging, right? A lot of the workouts, a lot of the exercises in this program are simultaneously warm-ups and strengthening. All right, go ahead and sit up. We're going to do some boat work pose here. So I want you to bring your feet in toward your hips. They're going to be about 1.5 feet from your hips. You should be able to plant your feet here. Next thing you're going to do, hold on to your knees. Lift your chest up and start to lean back. Now I want you to think aiming your sternum up at the ceiling. Keep your back flat. So imagine as if someone had a stick or a board along your back. So you want to make sure that you're not bringing your chest in and kind of curling your back. So try to keep the spine straight. You're also going to use your hip flexors to hold you up here. So you should feel lots of work in the fronts of your thighs from your waist kind of down to the mid-thigh. Again, we're going to hold on to the knees here a little bit to make sure that we've got good posture, and then you can start to lean back. And you're just going to hold this, breathing just as consistently as we've done throughout the whole workout. Breathing in and out of the nose. And here, I'm kind of looking up at the ceiling, slightly in front of me. So I'm not looking straight up at the ceiling, I'm looking at the ceiling and in front of me. And this is level 1 of this variation. Again, we've got engagement through the thighs. You're also going to lightly squeeze your legs toward one another. If it's comfortable, you can also bring your knees together and hold them there. That's going to increase the amount of core activation you have here. So you're going to feel this in the abs. You might feel this in the back. And again, you can hold onto your knees as much as you want here to support you initially. Second phase of this pose, you're going to bring your hands on either side of your hips to kind of, again, help you hold yourself upright. So if you feel like you need that extra support, again, hands are to the hips. You can bring your knees, bring the toes together if you want, or if it's more comfortable, you're welcome to bring your feet maybe about 4 inches apart or about a fist width apart. Again, hands are on your hips, on either side of your hips here to help you stay upright. We still want to keep a flat spine. So again, avoid arching your back, but most importantly, avoid rounding your back. So we're not caving forward here, right? We're not caving in the chest. We're keeping a big open chest here and good posture. And again, a lot of this in the hip flexors and the fronts of the thighs, the abs, and you might also feel this in your back as well. Just make sure to avoid pinching. If you're feeling pinching, you're probably not using your thighs or your core enough. And then third variation here, right? We had the hands on either side of the hips. We had the hands on the knees. Third variation, bring your arms straight out in front of you. Lift your chest high, lean back a little bit more. And this is the third variation. This is going to be the most difficult variation that we do today. And again, this is called boat pose. I like to keep my feet about hip width distant and my knees in line with my ankles when I'm doing this with my feet on the ground. If you want, you can also try bringing your big toes together and your knees together. That's going to increase the engagement. However, it could be uncomfortable for your testicles. So either way, choose which one you can do. Keep the tension by squeezing your legs in toward the middle. Keep your chest upright and arms out in front of you. We're holding this for a long time. This is one of the main exercises for today. There's a lot of explanation due, but also the longer we hold it, the more strength we can get. All right, and then go ahead and relax. Nicely done. We're gonna move up to a standing pose now. So go ahead and grab a block. Place that between your thighs. Feet are gonna be about hip width distant. Make sure you're pressing down through your toes, pressing down through the heels. Back to a perfect mountain pose, right? So that standing position. Toes are facing straight forward, so make sure that your toes aren't facing out. We're gonna apply a slight internal rotation to the thighs. So if you look at the block here, when I internally rotate my thighs, the block goes slightly back. Then we're gonna tighten the glutes, pressing your hips forward just lightly. Try to keep your hips right above your ankles. So if you notice that you've got a lot of weight in your toes, it's probably because your hips are too far forward. So pull the hips back. Might feel weird at first, might feel like you're falling over backwards. Palms face forward, ribs lift away from the hips, top of the head presses toward the ceiling, chin relaxes toward the throat. Take 3 deep breaths here. Relax the shoulders with the exhale and stay tall. All right, bring your arms straight out, laterally extended, so out to the sides. You're gonna breathe in here. As you exhale, twist to the left. Bring your right hand forward, bring your left hand back. Keep your hips squared forward. So look at your hips, make sure that they're facing straight forward. Squeeze the block between your thighs, that's going to help. As you inhale, you're gonna get a little bit taller. As you exhale, you're twisting deeper while keeping your right hip pulled back so that your hips are still squared forward. You also want to make sure that the legs are straight here. So if one leg is bent and you're turning toward the left a little bit, try to squeeze that right thigh, keep that leg engaged. Again, inhaling to lift, exhaling to twist a little bit deeper. Having this block is really useful to have. It's going to reinforce that inner thigh engagement. So even when you don't have the block later on, you're still going to know to engage the inner thighs. Take a big inhale, take it back to the middle. Exhale, twist to the right. Left hand comes forward, right hand reaches toward the back. Again, I want to keep my hips squared straight forward. So take a look down at your hips, make sure they're facing straight forward. Make sure that both legs are engaged. You're pushing down through your heels and your toes. As you inhale, we get taller, so lengthen. As we exhale, twist a little bit deeper. Your shoulders are going to be working here too. So if you feel some engagement through the insides of your shoulders, so right on the shoulder blades, that's a good thing. We do want to feel that. Your arms and your shoulders are working here. Again, breathe in to lift, to get taller. Exhale to twist. Inhale back to the middle. Exhale, twist to the left. Keep your hips squared. One more breath here. Exhale to twist deeper. Bring it back to the middle. Inhale. Exhale toward the right. Hips are squared. Look all the way over to the right. Open up your chest to the outside. One more breath. And back to the middle. Exhale other side to the left. Again, 2 breaths total here. Get tall with the inhale. Tighten with the exhale, twist deeper. Using your core strength to twist. One more breath back to the middle. Exhale toward the right, twist. One more breath, get taller. Exhale, twist deeper. It's as hard as you want to make it. Back to the middle. And go ahead and relax your arms. Take it down. Nice job.
All right, so standing twist. That was teaching you to twist using your core strength instead of relying on passive movement or passive flexibility. So that would be hooking your hand on your elbow or hooking the elbow on the knee to twist open, maybe using a wall to help you twist. Instead, you're just using your core strength to twist. All right, donkey kicks on a wall. You're gonna find a wall first, put your hands on the wall, stand at about feet, maybe 6 inches apart, kind of like you would have it for a squat hold, and we're going to work on doing some donkey kicks. So start on your right leg, squeeze your left heel in toward your butt, and then press your heel up as high as you can, and when you get it as high as you can, start to press up and over to the right. So we're really tightening your glute here. We're feeling this in the hamstring, in the back of the thigh, pressing up higher, heel up higher, still pushing down through your right foot, keeping your abs tight, protecting your lower back, and then releasing all the way back down. Same side, squeeze your left heel in toward your butt, feel your hamstring engage, and then press up and over to the right. First we go up as high as we can, and then we go up and over to the right. Notice that I'm not just opening my hip up to the side, I'm actually keeping my right foot or my right hip here pretty neutral. The goal here is to feel the left glute engaging, not to open the hip. The hip opens as a side effect, but our goal here is engagement of the hip, of the left hip. Go ahead and relax down. We're going to do one more of those. Squeeze the heel in, hamstring engages, and then again drive your heel up, 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 and then up and over to the right. And we're doing this for about 10 seconds. Try to squeeze your left butt as much as you can. So squeeze your glute, go a little bit higher. 3, 2, 1, and then release. All right, other side. So now we're going left foot planted. Bring your right heel in toward your butt. Press up, 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 up as high as you can. Initially feeling this in the hamstring. And then as soon as you start to press up and over to the left, now we're feeling your right glute engage, your butt engaging. So this is improving your glute activation for things like squats and lunges. That's going to help reduce stress on your lower back and strengthen your knees. Go ahead and release. Let it relax. And then again, squeeze your heel in. Press the heel up as high as you can. Press, 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 up, up, up. And then up and over to the left. And as you start to press up and over toward the left, that's when you feel that glute engagement happening. Keep your abs tight. If you're feeling maybe some fatigue in the lower back, that's normal. You are arching your back here, so your back is going to get tired. That's fine. Go ahead and release down. Let the tension release. And then last time, heel in toward your butt. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Drive your heel up, feeling this in your right glute. And then press up and over toward the left. So really driving that heel up and over. Keeping your hips squared forward. Because we don't need to open up the hip. That's not going to get any more glute engagement. That's just aesthetic. So we want to keep the hips squared, focus on the glute engagement and the right hip. 3, 2, 1, and then release. All right, nice. So that was all about focusing on glute engagement, strengthening your glutes. Now we're going to move into a down dog on the wall. So we've done a lot of hip engagement so far. You're going to recreate that with this down dog. So you're going to make an L shape on the wall with your hands. So hands come to the wall. You're going to walk your feet back so that you can get your hips directly over your ankles with a straight line from your arms, from your hands to your hips. Now we're going to make this active. So I want you to squeeze the tops of your thighs forward toward the wall. Push down through your feet. Squeeze your quadriceps, so squeeze the fronts of your thighs. And now we want to avoid arching the back. So pull your sternum toward your back, draw the ribs in, tighten your abs, press into your hands and squeeze your arms toward one another. So what we're doing here is a down dog, except on the wall. So without your body weight. So this is going to teach you the proper engagement of a down dog without your body weight. Squeeze your arms toward one another. You want to push your hands into the wall, externally rotating your hands like you're opening up a jar. And again, ribs draw in. So you're avoiding arching through your chest.
You also want to squeeze your legs toward one another. Make sure that your kneecaps are facing straight forward, so there's a little bit of an internal rotation to your thighs. And you're squeezing the fronts of your thighs toward the wall, and that's going to make this active. Take a couple breaths here. Try to remember what this feels like. Chest presses down, so you should feel this in your upper back. Again, arms squeeze toward one another, hands press into the wall, like you're opening up a jar, externally rotating your hands. Squeezing the thighs, squeezing the abs. And then go ahead and bend the knees and stand up all the way. All right, so an active down dog on the wall. It's going to teach you proper engagement for when you actually get on the ground and do a full out down dog. Next exercise, we're doing the lunge. So I want you to start in a runner's lunge with your right leg forward. Take a big step back with your left foot. And we're going to look at your knee here. Knee should be directly above your ankle and your front foot. We're driving down through your right heel. So that right hip pushes toward the right heel, and you're going to feel that in your butt, in your glute, just like we did for that donkey kick exercise on the wall. Hands are on either side of your right foot. You're going to keep the back leg straight, squeezing your left thigh. Pull your chest forward. Try to create space from your hips to your ribs. So make your torso nice and long. And then we're going to set the back knee down, but keep that engagement through the right leg. So very slowly bring your left knee almost all the way to the ground. Let it hover, kind of let your knee barely tickle the ground, and then come back to a low lunge without shifting that weight all the way to the left knee. So we're going to keep the weight in your right hip. Hands come on top of the right thigh. Again, still keeping that weight in the right hip. So what I'm trying to teach you here is to keep your right hip engaged and the left knee down. Even though that left knee is on the ground, you don't want to shift all your weight and relax onto the left knee. We're going to stay active through the right hip. Keep that weight in the right hip so you can strengthen your hip, so you can get a better stretch, and so you don't put additional pressure on the knee. Go ahead and bring the arms up into a full low lunge. We're feeling stretching through the front of the left hip. We're feeling engagement through the right thigh. You can also squeeze the back of your left thigh. That's going to increase the stretch in your left hip. I also recommend kind of squeezing your left leg and your right leg in toward the middle. So squeezing them in toward the midline, that's going to help engage your inner thigh, and that's going to stabilize your knee. It's also going to get a better stretch through the front of the left hip as you're doing that. So your legs are squeezing toward one another from front to back and also from side to side. That's going to make this a very engaged pose. And again, we're keeping the right heel pressing down. So we should be able to kind of hover that left knee whenever we want because we've got that right hip engaged. Yes, this is difficult. It takes a lot of endurance. That's why we're practicing it. That's why we're holding it. If you can't hold it, take a break, come right back into it. All right, let's go ahead and stand up all the way. And we're going to switch sides. So left leg is forward. Step your right leg back into a runner's lunge. Hands are on either side of your left foot now. Knee over the ankle and the front foot. The reason why we don't want the knee coming forward over the toes or past the toes is because that shifts the weight into the quadriceps, into the knee. We want to keep the weight back in the hip for now to teach you proper hip engagement, and that's going to help with knee injury prevention. Again, pull your chest away from your hips. We want to make the core nice and long so that we've got good posture. And then slowly, keeping the weight in your left hip, keeping that left hip driving down toward the left heel, release your right knee toward the ground. Kind of let it hover there, keeping the weight in the left hip. And then bring your shoulders on top of your hips, right above the hips. Draw the ribs in tight. So always keeping that neutral spine when we want to. And then bringing your arms up into a full low lunge or a kneeling lunge, arms overhead. I tried to combine the word lunge and arms, and I said orange, sorry. So again, push down hard through the left foot, squeeze your left hip, and then also squeeze your legs toward one another. The left hip squeezes toward the right hip, squeezing in toward the middle, and my left foot squeezes toward my right foot, squeezing in from front to back. So again, everything is squeezing in toward the middle, from the sides and from the top and the bottom. That's going to increase my hip engagement, particularly in the inner thighs.
And again, that's going to help with knee stability and also core engagement, and also helps with actually with relieving or reducing pressure on the lower back. Again, you should be able to kind of lift the right knee at any time here because we're focusing on keeping that weight in the left hip. Yes, it's difficult at first. It's tough to build that endurance, but if you keep practicing, your body will adjust. All right, one more breath here. And then go ahead and stand up all the way back to mountain. Nice job. Let's take a few breaths in mountain pose just to recover. Toes facing straight forward, heels about 1 inch apart. Push down through your big toes, push down through the heels, thighs wrap in, hips stay directly over the heels, light engagement to the glutes. Nice and tall, ribs away from the hips, palms forward. Take a few breaths here. Exhale to release tension. One more breath. All right, take it back to a plank. So you're just going to bend your knees, bring your hands to the ground, and step back to a plank. Just like we did in the last 2 days, you want to make sure that your forearms are engaged. So the fingers are flexed back toward the forearms. I'm going to push down through the webbing of my fingers where my fingers meet my palms, and then pretend like I'm opening up a jar, so pushing down and screwing my hands out. That way I'm protecting my wrist. So I'm doing this with active wrist, which is going to help me avoid pain or discomfort in my wrist, especially as I'm doing yoga. That's a very common occurrence, and it's because people aren't using their forearms properly. Biceps start to rotate slightly forward. That's going to help me put my shoulders in the right position. And I also want to pull my shoulder blades down away from my head. That will help me avoid creating additional tension in the shoulders. Squeeze your hands and your feet toward one another. That's going to help you increase the difficulty of this pose, increasing the effectiveness of this pose. Give this 10 seconds. Press the top of your head away from your hips. Look slightly forward and up. And then go ahead and release the knees down. Take it all the way down onto your chest. We're going to move into a baby cobra. Flip your feet. Reach your legs back as far as they can. Internally rotate your thighs so the knees face down. Press your feet into the ground. Squeeze your legs together. Tighten your abs. Push your pubic bone into the floor. And then lift your chest just a few inches away from the ground. Squeeze your elbows toward your hips and then in toward your sides. So we should feel this in thighs, core, hips, and abs, and also upper back. Look slightly forward. Press your head away from your shoulders. Make your neck nice and long. Again, really push down through the tops of your toes. That's going to help with the core engagement significantly. 5 seconds here. 3, 2, 1, and then slowly release down and take it back into a child's pose. Knees are wide, big toes touch, and we're going to stay active here. So you can squeeze your thighs as you're doing this. You can squeeze your butt. Draw the ribs in tight so that your abs are engaged and you're not arching your chest, but again, keeping a neutral chest. Arms walk out in front of you. We're going to push your hands into the ground and then squeeze your arms toward one another. So my shoulders are active, my arms are active, abs are active, and even my thighs and hips are active here. So doing an active version of child's pose, this is going to help with not only releasing your lower back and your back in general, but it's also going to help you strengthen your core at the same time. This is something I like to do if I've been sitting a lot. I'll go straight into a very active child's pose, and this helps to correct your posture, helps to relieve back pain. Again, by engaging one side of the body, you're stretching the other side. Keep it active. Elbows are off the ground because your arms are engaged. And if you look in a mirror here, your lower back and your spine in general should be flat. All right, moving into our last pose, I'm going to have you flip over into a seated position, and we're going to do a reclined figure 4, focusing on active hip mobility for your hips, for your glutes. All right, so a figure 4 is when you cross your leg over, let's go with the right leg first, is when you cross your right leg over the left leg and kind of make this figure 4 shape with your legs here. It's supposed to stretch your outer hip, your glute, your piriformis as well. So it's very good for relieving symptoms of sciatica. It's also just a really good stretch if you sit a lot. But this is a very passive pose. What we're going to do is make this active. So we're going to do this drill where you start with your right leg straight and your left knee bent like this, foot planted on the ground. And you want to bring your right leg into that figure 4 position without setting it on your left thigh and without using your hand to get it there. So you're going to bring the leg in, squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. Reach your toes back toward your shin. Try and set it on top of the thigh while getting your inner thigh to face you and getting the outer thigh to face away from you. And then you're going to try and squeeze this leg off the thigh. So lift it off and then bring it back. And then keep doing that. So again, you can also try this on your back. So roll into your back. And again, you're going to squeeze your heel in, kind of like you're pulling the heel toward the left shoulder. Turn your inner right thigh to face you. Turn your outer thigh to face away from you. And then getting that to the top of the thigh. So basically, we're working on active range of motion. So we could do this passively, like this. And if you can't do that active range of motion, and it's really tight for you, then just focus on this passive stretch here, the passive figure 4. But if you can do it, or if you can at least try to practice it, again, you're going to bring your foot in like you're doing a figure 4, actively putting it on top of the thigh, and then actively pulling it away from the thigh, right? So lifting it away from your left leg, and then bringing it back to that neutral position. All right, and switching sides. So again, you can see the difference. So instead of doing a passive figure 4, which is where we're just crossing the ankle over the thigh, grabbing the back of the right thigh, like so, we're being active. So right leg is bent, right foot planted, bring your left leg in, and you're going to have different range of motion on different sides. Inner thigh facing you, outer thigh facing away from you. And then trying to lift it away. And each time you do this, your body's going to go a little bit deeper into it. So you might not be able to do it at first. Just keep trying. And if you can't do it at all, here's what you're going to do. You're going to get your leg into that position, right? So you're going to get the leg into that passive stretch, passive figure 4, ankle over the knee, and then inner thigh facing you, outer thigh facing away from you. And you're just going to do your best to lift your foot off your thigh in this position. So you might not be able to get it to that position, but you might be able to get it out of this position. And that's also going to help you develop active range of motion in this figure 4. So I would recommend doing this for at least a minute or a half or 2 minutes on each side. You can work your way up maybe to 5 minutes if you've got the time and if you like the challenge and you want to get better at this. And this is really going to help with strengthening your hips and also, by default, strengthening the knees, preventing injury in the knees. You can use your hands if you want to get it to that position. And then getting it out. All right, cool. So I hope you enjoyed that little drill at the end. Again, that was a figure 4, reclined figure 4 stretch with active mobility, or reclined figure 4 with active mobility. We also worked a lot on hip engagement and on core strength today. The focus of this program is on active muscle engagement, which is why that last exercise in particular was very relevant to what we're doing with the Strength Foundations course. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that workout. That was the third workout from the Strength Foundations course. We don't typically upload workouts that are this long, but this is one of my most successful programs in terms of just how popular it is, but also in terms of the results that people get from it. It's a truly transformational program, challenging but approachable. I highly encourage you head over to my website, manfulyoga.com/join. Get access to the full program today, and you'll be shocked at what just a few weeks of this program can do for your fitness, for your body, and just how you feel. So check that out at manfulyoga.com/join. Again, I hope you liked this video. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of it, especially if you want to see more workouts like this. And then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell button to get notifications for when new videos are released. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.